You seem to tick a lot of boxes tonight and answer a lot of critics. Do you think that you did a complete job?
Oh, look, it was just a super strong performance from our guys. I was super proud of them tonight. I thought our pressure on the ball to start with and the way we came out and played was always going to make it a fierce contest, which it was, and to come through and come out with a win just shows some of the improvement the guys have made, which is fantastic.
Was that the hardest you've seen the Crows play?
Oh, I don't really look at it in that context. I looked at it in terms of a great opportunity. We spoke about it earlier in the week. Opportunity to play first versus second Friday night at home. We get 50,000 plus members turn up, to watch. I'd hope our fans and supporters who watched at home and came to the game would be proud of their team tonight and how they played. And that's really was the opportunity presented. And as I said, to the players' credit, they stood up.
Sloan passed all the concussion tests and certainly passed the test out on the park tonight. Yeah,
fantastic from Sloan tonight. I mean, he's again one of our leaders, and he led from the front. He came out of last week's concussion really well. Surprisingly well, to be honest, but trained fully during the week and never really gave any sign that he was going to be right, passed all the tests, and to play that way is shows great leadership.
Under the pressure that you had in the game, first half in particular, a lot more uncontested marks, a lot more kicks than hand passes. Was that the plan, in fact, to control the ball like that once you won it in time?
Well, that's probably more how the game sort of evolved, and we didn't necessarily go in saying we're going to do this or that or everything else. It was probably what presented, and our players took those options and found their way through. It was, we're aware of how Geelong want to play, and there's some things that how they set up that allowed us to do that. So, to the players' credit, they were able to execute that.
Don, in that evolution that you've talked about, what do you think has changed to get a different result against Geelong this time?
I think it's just been the ongoing learning, to be honest. I mean, the learning from the games you win and lose, you roll into your training, you roll into your education. And, the games we lost against Melbourne and Geelong earlier in the season, we learn lessons, but those lessons apply against what you do for, say, next time you play them, but equally to what we do against sides we played in the interim, so against the Carlton. So you're always learning, and the aim is obviously you want to continue to do that to get to a point whereby you keep improving, and that's what we've been able to do tonight is show that we've improved since last time we played Geelong. Does it mean we haven't got any more room for improvement? No, but it was certainly a really positive result for our group.
When you say that improvement, you're saying improvement in doing what you intended to do at Cardinia Park 6 weeks ago?
I think it's improvement in the way we play. And that's always evolving. I mean, your style of play evolves because your style of play is only as good as the opposition you face. And when opposition, and as I said previously, opposition have come and played us a different way, which has required us to adapt. That's fundamental in anything you do, is your ability to adapt. And we need to recognise it. We need to be able to adjust it. We need to train it. But then it comes down to the players to execute it. And tonight they did a great job in that space.
Your tackling pressure level has been in your time at the club, do you think?
Oh, it was very high. I mean, last week against Melbourne, we set a really high standard. So, we understand that that's what is required against the best teams, to do that consistently, because that's what enables you to stay in the contest. And that's those sorts of games when you're first versus second and they're going at it. And I thought both teams' pressure tonight was fantastic. It was a hot ball. You can see that from the inside 50 numbers. I think either side had over 50 inside 50, so it was a hot ball. There was pressure on around the place, and to our guys' credit, they were able to withstand that. And when we got our opportunity, take them.
It's been a long time since players have stood up for each other during the when it got really physical. Was that a focus of the week?
No, I think that's just again part of what I'm talking about, the evolution of the group, and we learned some things out of some games earlier where we were probably challenged in that space, and that's clearly what the players were the space they want to play in. At times we're closer to the line, but that's what the game requires.
You haven't really employed a tagger much during your time here at the club, Don, but Rolly Knight's been given that role the past few weeks. Yep. How did you assess his job tonight on Joel Selwood?
I thought he did a very good job. I mean, Joel still got some ball, but I thought he nullified his influence on the game, which is ultimately what you want from that role. And to put him in that role pretty much the first time for nearly a 20-game player. It's a great opportunity for him. He embraced it, and did some work with our midfield coach and Scott Campriali, and came up with a plan and went out and executed it.
What was it that made you, I suppose, go against what you'd done the first, your time here at the club to say, yes, we need to tag the best midfielders in the competition. We need to find someone who can do that role effectively for us. Yeah, well, the reality is if you continue to do what you've always done, you'll get what you always got. And so we recognise the need, to do something slightly different.
in various phases of the game tonight, and that was what we engaged the playing group on, and they bought in, and as I said, they executed it really well. How did you rate Alex Keith's performance tonight on debut? Yeah, look, he did some good things. He's a guy who's come into his first game on a big stage, and I thought in the last quarter there's a couple of classic examples, big spoils, early and late. He got outmarked a couple of times, but that's going to happen to young players and young defenders. But I thought a couple of his efforts early where he took some intercept marks and he hit some hard spoils. That's what we liked about him. He's a competitive guy that was going to, if he was going to get beaten, he was going to get beaten having a real red hot go. And I thought it was a good debut.
Do you think there was an emphasis on hands in the back in marking contests tonight?
I'd have to go back and look at it in more detail, to be honest. I think they're talking more about use of hands, or whether it's third guy in or something. So I'd have to look at it in more detail.
The umpires certainly weren't greeted on their exit. Did you have issues with the way they handled the game?
I was perplexed at times. I think it's probably the fairest thing to say.
Brad Crouch with his depressed fracture of the cheekbone. When did that happen, and
Yeah, my understanding it happened just before three-quarter time. So again, fantastic for Brad, to play out the last quarter, and that shows the sort of quality he is as well. It's a hard inside mid to go out with that sort of, with a facial fracture and continue to play and perform in the last quarter, knowing that the game was still on the line. It was fantastic.
There's a chance if he puts a plate in that he misses maybe a week or two.
Don't know. We'll have to see. We'll assess that with the docs. Again, we need to see what the procedure will be, and we'll inform you in due course.
When you say perplexed on, is there one rule that confused you most? There seemed to be a lot of ticky-touch with ruck ones.
Look, I'd want to go back and have a look at it, because again, I want to be fair, but it was just a couple of times I was uncertain exactly. There's a couple of off-the-ball ones, which again I need some clarity on, I think.
Is Hugh Greenman the toughest basketballer you've ever seen?
Yeah, he was good tonight, Hugh, again. I mean, he keeps growing, Hugh. He's another one who's super competitive, clean with the ball. He's a good size around the contest, and he's prepared to use it. So he took another step tonight as well, which is great. He's another guy who's 9 games, and certainly didn't back away from the big game, and first versus second. So it's really positive signs for him.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.